Good morning. Good to have you with us. I'm Joe Fryer.
And I'm Stephen Romo in for Savannah Sellers today. And we do begin with those major developments in legal battles facing President Biden's son, Hunter, as well as former President Donald Trump.
There was an important court filing yesterday in the federal investigation into Hunter Biden. The special counsel overseeing that case is planning to seek a grand jury indictment of Hunter Biden before the end of the month. Earlier this year, Hunter Biden had agreed to plead guilty to misdemeanor charges over his failure to pay income taxes. But that agreement collapsed at a plea hearing in July when the judge raised questions over a separate charge involving a firearm. The president's son ended up pleading not guilty on the tax charges. Meanwhile, the first televised hearing of Georgia's 2020 election interference case, it took place yesterday. That came after Trump and 18 other co-defendants all waived their arraignments and pleaded not guilty to charges relating to an alleged attempt to overturn the election result there. A lot to go over, and we've got the best with us, NBC News Justice and Intelligence correspondent Ken Delanian and legal analyst Danny Savalos, both here to help walk us through it. Ken, let's start with you in the Hunter Biden investigation. Walk us through this filing yesterday and what it really means.
Yeah, what it means is what it says. The special counsel, David Weiss, intends to seek an indictment of Hunter Biden before the end of the month. And he made clear in the filing that tax and gun charges are on the table. And as you said, it came after the collapse of that plea deal last month over questions about whether Hunter Biden could be charged in what Weiss said was a continuing investigation into his overseas business dealings. Remember, he was going to plead guilty to 2 tax misdemeanors and enter a diversion program on a gun charge that would result in no jail time. But now he doesn't have that deal. He's exposed to potentially more serious charges. Remember, an IRS whistleblower who investigated this case has told Congress that there's evidence that he committed tax felonies. And Attorney General Merrick Garland named David Weiss as special counsel, giving him the authority to bring charges in any jurisdiction in the country, guys.
And Danny, let's talk about that failed plea deal that many people were surprised didn't actually make it through. Aside from the gun and tax charges, are there any other potential charges Hunter could be facing?
I was originally critical of this offer of diversion because statistically there are probably more people in this studio now than were offered pretrial diversion in the District of Delaware last year. I'm betting, although the statistics are hard to get. But now, if you're Hunter Biden and his defense team, you're starting to feel a little like a political football because they walked in there fully prepared to enter an agreement to a diversionary program, and now, just because the government won't agree to not continue to investigate him, by the way, very reasonable expectation when you're a defendant walking in, pleading either guilty or entering a diversionary program, that this is it, no further charges. Why in the world would you plead guilty if you don't believe this is a full and final resolution of all pending charges and the investigation? But instead, now the government appears poised to charge or indict Hunter Biden on these same felonies. And look, practicing federal criminal defense, do I think the government can be a little bit vindictive after you reject their offer? Yeah, I think that's possible. But, you know, I don't know that that's what happened in this case.
So, Ken, how is Hunter Biden's legal team reacting to these latest developments?
So one of his lawyers is Abby Lowell, who's known as a scorched earth litigator when he goes against the Justice Department. And his position is that, look, they have this binding agreement. They both signed it, prosecutors and defense attorneys, this diversion agreement, which has language in it that says that Hunter Biden is immune from being charged to the conduct he is admitted to. But the prosecutors are saying that's not true. Take a listen to Abby Lowell.
If 2 parties make an agreement and sign the agreement and submit the agreement and in open court say they have an agreement, then they have an agreement. And more importantly, what has happened since that day, as we pointed out in our pleading, our client, Hunter, has been living up to his terms of that agreement. Now, to be clear, there were 2 different agreements. The plea agreement, which was not fulfilled, and this thing called the diversion agreement, which is important based on the prosecutor's filing today about what they plan to do on a gun charge.
And so what prosecutors say in response is actually the probation office never signed off on this agreement, so it's not valid. And so this is going to have to be decided by the judge.
And even more to talk about here, Ken. Let's switch to the Georgia election probe. We had the first televised hearing yesterday. I actually got to watch that in real time. It was the request by Sidney Powell and Kenneth Chesebro to actually sever their cases from the rest. Why did the judge ultimately decide against that?
Well, he actually decided against them severing from one another. He still hasn't decided whether they can sever from the rest of the defendants and have their trial early. Remember, they want to go to trial as quickly as possible, both of them. They both argued that their cases were unrelated and therefore they shouldn't be tried together. The judge didn't buy that. But I think what yesterday showed is that we are in for a long slog here with this Atlanta case, and we're not going to see Donald Trump in a courtroom on these charges anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, Danny, the judge obviously has expressed skepticism, as have you, about putting all 19 defendants on trial as soon as next month. What is the most realistic outcome here as far as when we're actually going to see these things?
Remember this number, 2025. I've been saying it half jokingly, but very seriously as well. There is a real possibility this trial does not go forward until 2025. And the other thing is we're all talking about the trial. As of right now, we're a month into this case. There may be at least 2 different trial dates in the state court case. And this case is now pending in federal court. And Ken, I'm not going to do it again, but the case is in federal court. It's not a bid, a request, an effort to move the case to federal court. When you remove a case, it's in federal court. Now, it may get remanded, but we don't even know legally whether or not all defendants get pulled up to federal court if that removal stays, or just partially. So when you ask about when will the trial occur, the answer is which trial. We don't even know where it will be, what sovereign will control it, and what courthouse it'll be in, and what defendants will be tried. Just like Ken said, this is already a procedural mess, and we're 1 month into this case.
How quickly would we even expect to know which cases would go to federal versus state? Is that something that has to be settled soon, or could that drag on for a while?
My only answer that I can say with confidence is we will definitely not know a final answer by October, and that is apparently when the DA is looking to have this case tried. Never going to happen, not going to happen. It's going to take probably 6 months for jury selection alone. So even if the trial started in October, there's a real possibility. Again, my number, 2025 holds.
All right. We'll keep you to it. Yeah, hold you to it. Ken, Danny, thank you both. Appreciate it.
Well, this morning, we're learning more about the escaped prisoner on the run in Pennsylvania as authorities there released the surveillance video showing just how that convicted murderer was able to escape Chester County's prison. NBC News correspondent George Solis has the details.
We now know how Danilo Cavalcante escaped the Chester County prison by scaling up a wall and bypassing razor wire, triggering this days-long manhunt. The community continues to remain on edge, but authorities are still confident they'll get their man.
This is the moment Danilo Cavalcante began his escape from the Pennsylvania Chester County prison early Thursday morning. Officials releasing the video and describing how the convicted killer crab walked up a wall by the prison's exercise yard before pushing his way through razor wire.
While we believe the security measures we had in place were sufficient, they've proven otherwise.
The prison's acting warden acknowledging Cavalcante escaped undetected, even though the prison's observation tower was staffed at the time.
The tower officer did not observe nor report the escape. The escape was discovered as part of the inmate counts that occurs when inmates come in from the exercise yard.
The officer stationed in the tower, he said, is now on administrative leave. The acting warden says Cavalcante made his escape at 8:51 a.m., but he wasn't determined to be missing from the prison for nearly a full hour.
At 9:50 a.m., the prison was locked down and the special count was conducted. By 10:01 a.m., the public escape siren had sounded and the 911 center had been notified.
Authorities say Cavalcante's breakout mirrored a previous escape from the same prison in May, when, according to court documents, inmate Igor Bolt climbed onto the roof of a narrow area of the prison to gain access to a visitor's entrance where there was less security. Bolt was captured within 5 minutes, and security measures were added to the prison. Authorities now adding even more.
Fully enclosing all outside exercise yards, installing additional security cameras, adjusting officers' positions when inmates are in exercise yards.
With yet another sighting reported, police say they believe Cavalcante is now heading south, confident he has not escaped their perimeter.
We're committed to the search, and we will find him. We will bring him back and into the criminal justice system.
And our thanks to NBC News correspondent George Solis for that reporting. And now to Washington, D.C., where another manhunt is underway for an escaped murder suspect. Police say Christopher Haynes escaped custody while at the George Washington University Hospital. Haynes was charged in a recent homicide investigation. Authorities say he was last seen with black handcuffs hanging from his right wrist. Temporary road closures were set up all around the White House as law enforcement searched for him. Police are asking for the public to provide any tips that could help find him.
On Capitol Hill, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell faced reporters for the first time since returning to the Senate following his most recent health scare. It was his first press conference since seeming to freeze while at a public event back home in Kentucky last week. That was his second freeze incident this summer. It sparked questions about his health and his future in Congress. McConnell is 81 years old, the longest-serving leader ever in the Senate. Yesterday, when pressed by reporters, he briefly addressed his short-term future on Capitol Hill.
I'm going to finish my term as leader, and I'm going to finish my Senate term. Thank you.
NBC News congressional correspondent Julie Sirkin joins us again this morning with the latest. Julie, good morning. So we know earlier this week the Capitol's attending physician wrote that letter stating McConnell did not experience a stroke or a seizure. Tell us about his day yesterday. What else are we hearing from McConnell?
Yeah, but Brian Monahan, the attending physician, didn't say what exactly was wrong with McConnell other than these are the apparent effects of the concussion McConnell suffered from back in March when he took that fall. Reporters, understandably so, had more questions for the leader, and he refused to elaborate on what Dr. Monahan had already said. Check this out.
Well, I think Dr. Monahan covered.
We'd like to hear from you.
I know you are hearing from me. I think Dr. Monahan covered the subject fully. You had a chance to read it. I don't have anything to add to it, and I think it should answer any reasonable question.
Now, just to remind our viewers, Joe, remember Monahan said that they ran tests on McConnell, including a brain MRI, and they didn't find any evidence of seizures or strokes. Obviously, there were further questions, but for McConnell's part, he spent his day talking about Ukraine, talking about the need for global security in general, and really trying to avoid the topic of his health as much as he possibly could, but understandably so, a lot of scrutiny and attention on him.
Yeah, when we talk about people who have questions, that includes some fellow Republicans. What are they now saying now that McConnell's back on Capitol Hill?
Certainly. And right before he spoke to reporters, McConnell had to actually face 48 of his Republican colleagues behind closed doors, where I'm told he did address his health for a couple of minutes. But one senator told me it wasn't really the forum to ask questions, because right after McConnell opened up about his health, saying that because of his concussion, he's sleeping a lot more, he's less energy, they moved on to a presentation about all the fundraising he was able to do in the last month during recess, and then on a presentation for abortion polling. So Josh Hawley, for example, who's no fan of McConnell's leadership, told me that it wasn't the forum to ask questions. Senators might have had concerns, but they couldn't really ask those questions. Most senators, though, at least publicly, standing behind McConnell, aside from, let's say, Josh Hawley and Senator Rand Paul, who is McConnell's colleague from Kentucky, Senator Rick Scott, for example, who several months ago mounted an unsuccessful leadership challenge against McConnell, yesterday telling me he has no concerns and that McConnell did a good job during the presentation.
So, Julie, what is next for the Senate Minority Leader? What's on his agenda as we head into this busy fall, this really busy September?
Yeah, a lot. Look, the government funding deadline is at the end of this month. McConnell has always played a heavy hand in these kinds of discussions and negotiations. And not only Republicans are relying on him in his conference to try and muscle a government funding deal through, because, of course, that wouldn't play politically well for Republicans, who would most certainly be blamed for any kind of government shutdown. But also Majority Leader Schumer and the other side of the aisle, Democrats, are looking at him to be the pragmatic person in the room, as on the other side of the chamber, you have House Republicans who are threatening to shut down the government over what they say are too high of spending levels. There's also the issue of Ukraine and disaster relief. It's not clear if that's going to go together hand in hand, as many Republicans and Democrats wanted to, because of some of the frustrations happening on the other side of the chamber. So a lot of questions, but certainly McConnell usually plays a heavy hand. His colleagues are counting on him to do so here. And as you heard from most of them, they are expecting him to finish out his term as leader, and so far not looking to challenge or question it. In the words of Mitt Romney, real quickly here, Joe, he actually told us a couple of days ago, look, McConnell might have problems for 20 seconds, but the other 80,000 or so, he's there when we need him, and we rely on him.
Yeah, we heard that soundbite yesterday. All right, Julie Sirkin, thank you so much.
To the COVID front now. NBC News has learned that the FDA could be on the verge of approving the latest applications for updated COVID boosters as early as tomorrow. That's according to 4 people familiar with the FDA's plans. We do want to note, though, 2 of those sources also pointed out that the timeline could be pushed into early next week. The boosters are expected to roll out as COVID cases and hospitalization rates are up 16% from just 2 weeks ago. Health officials warn that number could go up more as we head into the fall season. NBC News correspondent Monica Alba joins us now for more on this. Monica, good morning to you. So we know a new variant causing a lot of concerns. What do we know about the latest round of boosters and how well it could protect against that BA.2.86 variant?
Exactly, Stephen. That is a huge question here because these boosters have been formulated for some time. And so we know that they are targeted specifically to a Omicron variant that was in circulation that now isn't the dominant strain. But the dominant and drug makers here say that it will help with anything related to it because they are pretty similar in nature. So they're talking about boosters here that really are now set to be put into people about once a year. That's the cadence now that we expect there will be a recommendation for. Remember, this was a series where sometimes you were getting a booster and then a couple of weeks later another one. They're going to try to standardize that, but they're waiting to get more guidance specifically on how that's going to happen. And that's why we expect that first step could take place as early as tomorrow. But an incredible statistic, something like 97% of adults already have some immunity against COVID. And so we know, for instance, that number, because it's so high, they're hoping that will help. But we know that immunity also certainly wanes. And so that's a reason for trying to get people to get these boosters as soon as possible.
All right, we'll be watching. Monica Alba, thanks so much.
The brutal heat in the Northeast is not letting up just yet, so let's get a check on your morning news now weather forecast.
Meteorologist Angie Lashman joins us now with more. Good morning, Angie.
Good morning, gentlemen. If you are looking for that heat in places like the Northeast, New England, it'll come. We're going to eventually start to see some relief here as a cold front works through. But in the meantime, we've got 69 million people under these heat alerts. Unfortunately for the South, not much relief is in the future. We're going to continue those triple-digit temperatures for Dallas and Houston. Notice the feels-like temperature in Houston later this afternoon. 110 degrees. We're expecting 107 for what it'll feel like in New Orleans this afternoon. And up and down the East Coast, a similar story. 96 degrees in Washington, D.C. this afternoon, but feeling like 104. So these conditions are going to last for 2 more days across parts of the East, and then we'll start to see some improvements. Notice the cooler air that's filtering in across parts of the Great Lakes and the Midwest. We'll see temperatures in Milwaukee tomorrow just 70 degrees. So a nice, refreshing change to fall-like conditions. Not so much across the South. We'll keep those triple digits for the extended period, really, across parts of Texas, Louisiana. Those same areas that really have had a difficult summer when it comes to heat will continue that trend for another week or so. As we look at the temperatures into next week, it looks great for places like Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. We'll be into the upper 70s to low 80s. Even New York will get back down to those more seasonable conditions along with Washington, D.C., and hang out into those low to mid 80s. But we've got to get through a cold front first in order for that relief to come. Unfortunately, the cold front's not going to help folks in the South. Dallas will hang out into the upper 90s on Saturday, back to the mid 90s on Sunday, and some improvement, some by Monday, but still into those low 90s. So warm conditions will last for folks there. But this cold front is going to leave us with some cooler conditions on the backside of it. But we have these showers and thunderstorms ahead of it, and it kind of is a slow mover and sticks around for a little while. So unfortunately, we'll see those unsettled conditions across parts of New England, stretching down to the mid-Atlantic, not just today, but into tomorrow, too. This is a look at your Friday about 8 p.m. You can see the showers and thunderstorms stretched across that same region with the potential for some strong storms in there. We could see some severe weather potentially with this for 25 million people this afternoon into the evening hours. It stretches from Burlington all the way down to Washington, D.C. Looks like our main threat is going to be those stronger winds, maybe some hail. The tornado threat, thankfully, is low today, but of course, it's not zero. So a heads up for that. And of course, we are getting into that peak of hurricane season, September 10th, the official peak, but either way, we're in it. And we've got Hurricane Lee right now, a Category 1. We've got one other area just off the coast of Africa that we're going to watch for a pretty good chance of it developing into a tropical depression here in the short term. In the meantime, though, I know a lot of folks have been asking about this Hurricane Lee. It is a Category 1 with winds at 80 miles per hour and quickly intensifying. We've been expecting rapid intensification with this system. As it moves to the northwest about 13 miles per hour, it'll slow down a little bit. It'll be in a pretty good area for further intensification. You can see even by tomorrow morning, we could be dealing with a Cat 3, eventually Cat 4 down the line. and that'll be a system that looks right now to track just north of the Leeward Islands and north of Puerto Rico. What it does beyond this is a question. It's still fairly far out, but it will likely continue to be a hurricane here as it moves into portions just to the north and east of the Bahamas. This is the American model. As we look at the European model, it does take it for a turn to the north. Either way, impacts down the line will be something we'll have to watch, guys. We could maybe see some rough surf or some rip currents, even beach erosion along the East Coast, but potentially impacts as far as folks in the New England area, maybe down the line too, isn't completely off the table. But right now, it looks like we'll have a better idea of all of that here as we get into early parts of next week. This is still 7-9 days away, so something to watch.
We've got some time.
Exactly.
All right, thanks, Angie. Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.